Where is the moment we needed the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. They tell me your blue skies fade to gray. They tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't need no carrying on. 'Cause you had a bad day. You take it right down. You sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know. You tell me don't lie. You work on a smile and you go for the ride. You had a bad day. You see what you like. And how does it feel for one more time? You had a bad day. Oh, you had a bad day.
Hey everybody, how are you today? I hope you are doing very well. So this is going to be a pretty quick, short little live. AK and Martin have invested with their research group. They've invested an enormous amount of time to have all the facts together, create a usable database, and all of that is to keep the story factual and on target, to cut down on confusion in conversation and whatnot. So I did get the lives that we did in the past few days where we were really talking about the location where the reporters were saying that they found the crime scene tape, suggesting that that was near where they found Suzanne. We kind of got that narrowed down, and we're pretty sure where that's at. I believe it's mile marker 97. It is possible that it may be not 103, but I don't think so. I think 97 is it. Now then, this is different. I got a comment that was left under one of those videos asking about something related to the timeline. Specifically, hold on, I'll connect to this. Specifically that this person asking or trying to state that they believe that Suzanne was alive on May the 9th, that she was alive on May the 9th because she had the conversation with her sister, right? The text messaging where she reveals to Melinda the true state of the marriage and the actual behavior of Barry toward the marriage and toward herself specifically. And so I want to clarify that because this person, their understanding was way off base. So we need to, really make use of what AK and Martin have put out there and really be true to the facts of the case, because if in fact, my opinion is that he laid out breadcrumbs that were there specifically to mislead detectives and law enforcement. And if he did in fact do that, then it becomes critical to really have the timeline nailed down perfectly so that you don't get misled by the chaos that I think his breadcrumbs left, right? So the reality is, and this all comes from telematics on the truck, police reports, text messaging, phone, the information coming out of the cell phone, GPS. So this is really good, strong evidence, okay? So the text messaging that occurred between Suzanne and her sister Melinda was May the 8th, and it was at 9 a.m. Okay. started at 9 a.m. And Melissa, that we get a little snippet of it. It's hard dealing with the harsh abrasiveness and having to show respect. He's also been abusive. And there was a lot more to that text, but we're not going to go all into that, because really the focus of the question was she having these conversations on the 9th or on the 8th? And the discussion was on May the 8th, the morning of May the 8th. And then right before this exchange happened with Melinda, there was another exchange to Barry. And Suzanne is apologizing apparently for a mistake that she made in invoicing. Apparently there was some money that she was supposed to invoice and didn't do it, and she's apologizing. And I think that's really important to note, because it kind of gets us to this thought that there was this major disagreement, because Barry was in financial straits at the time. Things were not going well financially. He was operating his business in Colorado without the appropriate business license. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. He was doing contracts, big money contracts, working for the highway, the state highway system. He was working contracts, and he did not have his license. And magically, the first thing he does when the money gets signed over, like Suzanne's been declared, I don't remember what they declared her. Did they declare her? I don't remember what it's called, but basically saying she's gone. We don't know where she is. She can't tend to her own business. And so Mallory and Barry are going to take care of Suzanne's stuff, all her money and property and stuff, right? Mallory testified to the state in order for Barry to be able to take control of all of Suzanne's assets. It was an obscenity. So the minute that he gets his hands on money, the very minute he gets his hands on money, he turns around and he gets his business license, which was like $19,000 or something to pay for this. So it's crazy. I mean, we're talking about big money problems for him. So on the morning of the 8th, May the 8th, there is this exchange where she makes a mistake, or she overlooks, or she forgets to invoice this guy. And we don't know. Maybe it was Barry's fault that she didn't invoice. Maybe Barry forgot to give Suzanne the heads up on what needed to be invoiced. I can see that. But for whatever reason, there was this mistake made during a period of time of great financial upheaval. And so after that, a few minutes, 15, 20 minutes after this apology to Barry, then she starts messaging her sister and says, it's the abrasiveness. Like, he's so harsh and abusive to me, and I have to keep, treating him with respect. Now, let me ask you this. Those of you that have been in abusive relationships, or you have family members or friends that have been in abusive relationships, doesn't that sound familiar? This idea that this person treats you in an abrasive, abusive manner, and they demand that you continue to show them respect, right? So in her own words, discussing with her sister, you see it. You see that familiar control there that accompanies domestic violence. So for those of you that were asking about the basically trying to pinpoint what would be considered an accurate proof of life, because I don't think that the photograph of her sunbathing is accurate. It seems that the blue towel in the picture is exactly identical to the blue towel for the resort in Cancun. So that's curious. maybe it's more likely that photograph was taken in Cancun than in their backyard. Barry's story changes quite a bit. He's questioned, I don't know, 4 different times, I think. My memory may be off on that, but I think 4 times. He gives 4 different, there were 4 episodes where or circumstances where he is officially asked about what happened that afternoon with Suzanne sunbathing and eating soup and all that. He's asked about it. And each of those 4 episodes, when you read through it, it's different. There's things in it that you think, wow, how can your memory be so dramatically different for the big points, not for the little subtle things, right? So that's kind of weird. And so the last proof of life, where exactly is it? And somebody said, well, I think she talked to her sister on May the 9th, sent the text on May the 9th, and that is not accurate. The truth is that the exchange with Melinda was started the morning of the 8th. So that is my idea. That I think when you think about that texting with her, the apology right before it, to me, it feels like they were having an active exchange. And that's when Suzanne finally said, you know what? I'm done. Had enough. I'm going to reach out to my family members. I'm going to just tell them the truth. No more hiding. No more pretending that our marriage is fine. Not going to do it anymore. And so she reached out to her sister, probably in preparation to say, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, there's a lot of people in these difficult moments, and they'll say, I want a divorce. I want out. But they don't tell family, right? It's part, that threat of divorce is part of the argument, hoping to exert pressure to make the other person change. But you don't tell your friends and family. You may tell your closest friend, but you don't tell your family or anything. You don't start telling your family until your decision is made and you're on the way out. Then you begin to tell your parents, hey, this is going to happen. Or you tell your siblings, I'll be leaving and getting a divorce. So I do think that was a really critical morning, going back and looking back through it. And then we have the weird Facebook friend request, and all that. So yeah. So it's very, very interesting. So still, I think we're still looking at the 8th as being the last day that we feel confident that she was still alive. I don't think she was alive on the 9th. I think it was already a done deal by the 9th. My ex has fake gold bars on his windowsills. Why, Betty? Why would he put fake gold bars? They call my husband Hitler and Houdini. He can disappear for hours. No one can find him. Hybrid Pisces. Hybrid knows this case very, very well, too. And she thinks it's the 8th. Yeah, me too. Hey, Celestial, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I think it's the 8th. I think there was a big blow up about money, and at that point things got out of hand. Yep. Fake bars, fake gold bars on his window sills. That's weird. I wonder if we will ever know the true timeline. He is so into himself will be an important. Wow. So he's stacking these I guess, well, fraudulent gold bars to sort of like give this illusion of wealth, I guess. Wow, that's inviting trouble in my opinion. Will we ever know the true timeline? We do have a really good timeline. We do have I think it is not likely that Suzanne is going to be friending all these people on Facebook back in from 1985. Like, why in the world would she do that? And the fact that she friends or her account, right? Oh yeah, and right before this friending thing started, she changed the password on her account, so there was an account recovery, which could have been done from her phone easily. So, so the fact that it was she had these friend requests to all of these Jeffs almost makes you feel like that was another breadcrumb to try to maybe make the authorities look toward Jeff Libler. Or he was on a fishing expedition that he knew the boyfriend was Jeff, but he didn't know which Jeff. So he was trying to figure it out. That is a possibility as well, I guess. Yeah, and Melinda deleted the conversation. It was so disturbing to her. That's exactly right, Suzanne. Yep. Yeah, so Karma says, I don't think Barry all of a sudden blew up. It was planned. I definitely think it was planned. Yeah, no doubt. But when you go and when you talk to these people that have experienced this type of controlling atmosphere and even potential assault on life, when you talk to them, the story always looks like this. It's where they're planning to do this thing, this terrible thing, or even planning to leave an abusive relationship. So they're planning, they can spend years planning it and putting things in place, right? I once knew a person who kept her own apartment for over a year. No, the husband never knew about it, friends never knew about it, family never knew about it. And when the time came, she just disappeared and went to the apartment. Um, by the time that the husband is notified with divorce papers and all that, she had left the apartment, moved out of the state, and was safe. So people can plan these things for years and years and years, but they don't actually know like when they're going to pull the trigger on the plan, right? They're putting it in place, they're getting ready, but then they're not really sure when the opportunity is going to present itself. And I do think that many people have said that weekend was the perfect opportunity. The girls were gone. They were on this camping trip or somewhere away. Maybe it was planned because of that, because the girls were not around town during that time. So it also could have been because she was in the process of packing up and leaving. It could have been that when he came home, she wasn't laying in the backyard sunbathing. She had a suitcase packed and was walking out the door, and he was like, "Oh no, this is not happening." There you go, Kate. There you go. And you have to be calm and you have to be quiet and you have to stay committed to the plan, put money away. And then the experts will tell you when you get ready to leave, you don't take things with you. You don't like load up a car and leave. In fact, they even want you not to take your clothes because even clothes are very familiar to people and it makes it easier to find you if you have the same kind of clothes. And so this one person that I know, she got the apartment. She started storing like, oh, I hate to say, well, silver and gold and cash and things like that. She was storing that at the apartment. This went on for years. And she was even buying clothes and putting in the apartment. That apartment sat there empty, but had everything that she would ever need. And when the time came, she was out and did not take anything with her, did not take her phone, took nothing with her. So you have a new phone, you have a new computer, everything's ready to go in the new place. that in no way can be connected to you. I don't understand Macy leaving her alone, knowing what was happening. There's no, I've said this before. I'll continue to say it. We cannot judge what either of those two girls did or are doing. We have no right to judge them. They are surviving, and that is good. If they are continuing to survive, then they are winning. They are doing exactly what they should be doing. My mom never believed me that he was on drugs. Barry needed her found to declare her dead before 10 years. Why is that? Come crime with me. Barry needed her found to declare her dead before 10 years. Explain that to me, come crime with me. Why do you say that? What's special about that 10-year mark? But I don't think, well, I mean, he had her put all that money into the house, so that changes it. But the law is if it is an inheritance, the inheritance does not become a part of the marital assets. But that got blown out of the water when he talked her into putting the money into the house. Now it is marital combined assets. To get everything, she's only missing. Has to prove she's dead. That is disgusting. That come crime with me. That's kind of scary, isn't it? Because it makes you wonder if there's an attorney that's telling him that. Absolutely, I agree, Celestial. Yeah, I agree with you that it keeps them. The girls not knowing, it keeps them safe, and it also keeps the secrets quiet. Did the 69,000 missing from the safe have to do with an accomplice? Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you, Celestial, I don't think there was 69,000 missing. They did find cash in a bag there in the safe. So that he's claiming that there was enough money there. And so I don't believe it was there. I think it was made up as part of the storyline that Suzanne is a gone girl. I think that, and here's the other thing that just blew my mind. So I went to the preliminary hearing, and I was in a state of shock that they did not issue a subpoena or a warrant on the two bank accounts. So the prosecutors had no idea what the balance was in those two accounts, what the original opening deposit was in the two accounts, if there was ever any activity on the account, like somebody using a debit card or writing checks or anything. They had no idea, y'all. They just said, oh, look, we have these two accounts. Jeff Libler's phone number is the point of contact for these two accounts. But Linda Stanley did not want to know if there was a balance in the account or if somebody was getting money from a Belize ATM. Why didn't anybody want to know that? It's shocking how anybody thinks that this deal going on in Chaffee County and then later Fremont County, only because of the judge from Chaffee County, how anybody approaches this and doesn't see corruption. I don't know how. But anyway, they never looked. And I kind of, at the time, I kind of made this, tongue-in-cheek statement, who wants to bet the balance in the account is $69,000? So I really believe that Barry was just making a storyline for the investigators that would just pull them further away from the reality. of what happened to her and where she was. It was just a way that should he ever be arrested and go to trial, that it would be it would create a storyline of reasonable doubt, right? That was the way I experienced it. Oh, exactly, Celestial. Yeah. And Linda Stanley is biting fingernails right now. Her little fingertips are probably down to the nubs. You know what I mean? Because she recognizes this is going to a real DA in a completely unconnected county, connected to the corruption that we see coming out of Chaffee County. Um, it's just gonna all the more reveal the incompetence of Linda Stanley's office. I believe that in my heart. Yeah. So Marilyn Pastor brings up a really good point of view. I wonder if he has convinced girls that she left with the money and would eventually come home. And here's the problem: if he did in fact do that, Marilyn, and I think so. I think that was the whole point of, I have $69,000 missing out of my account. We got out of my safe in the garage. We got the two accounts that were set up in online banks, not local, but online banks. Um, so what did she do, Barry? She stole your cash, but then she turned around and made online bank accounts. That doesn't make any sense, Barry. If you got cash in hand and you're going to be a gone girl, why would you want to set up a bank account where you could be tracked? Just keep your damn cash in your hand, right? So I think that's why he did that story. I think he created that story as part of convincing the girls that he would never kill their mother, that their mother abandoned them. Now they're young adults, so it's not technically abandonment, but that she didn't love them enough to stay with them, that she wanted to run off and be with some wild and crazy man, right? And I want you to put yourself in Macy and Mallory's shoes today. If he in fact did try to convince them of that story, we don't know if he did, but let's just say that he did for argument's sake. Now they know they have her. How are the girls going to reconcile that? How are the girls? Eventually, those are smart girls. How are they going to get to the point where they go, wait a minute, now why did my dad tell me that she stole money to run away to another country, but really she's just 45 minutes south in Moffat? You see what I mean? So Barry right now today, his world, the bricks that he has placed in his life, they're falling to the ground. His story is crumbling. Yeah, he ran the Betty Blue. He really tried really hard to give the impression that Suzanne was using a lot of drugs and that she was drinking a lot, and all that. Remember, her dad was an alcoholic for a while, or that he was actively drinking for a while as an alcoholic, but then he quit, right? But Barry tried to give that he lied to investigators, and he concocted this huge tale of a woman living under the effects of substances all the time, and the only time they had a good time was when he asked her, please Suzanne, don't drink tonight, please Suzanne, no substances. So he's telling the cops this, that he said, oh, we had a good night, and the reason we had a good night is because she wasn't using substances. Like, that's in the arrest affidavit. Okay. So when I was in Salida for this preliminary hearing, one of her friends came up to me and said, and I told her I had a YouTube channel and I wanted her to know so she wouldn't say anything, and she told me that she wanted me to tell you guys, anyone interested in this case, that she saw Suzanne nearly every day, that they went out to eat all the time together, they cooked together, that she and her husband were good friends with Barry and Suzanne, and they were always together. And that never, it was a rare thing for Suzanne to order drinks. That was really not very common. If she did order an alcoholic drink, she really didn't drink much of it. And that never, not once, and she was really specific. She's crying as she's telling me this, right? She says that of all the time we spent together, she said, never did it occur to me that she was impaired in some way. Like I never looked at her and thought, oh, she looks really sleepy. I bet she's taking Xanax, or she's talking way too much, or she's falling asleep when really she should be well rested. And she said, I never. And she said, now what I did see from Suzanne was a woman who was eating really clean, that she was eating fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean meat. She never ate anything that was fried. And that all of that clean living and working out, getting her muscle strong, that all of that was this effort to fight cancer. So she said to me that it was that she supported Barry, and she didn't believe that he would do anything, because remember, they're friends, right? Until she learned about him claiming that Suzanne was a teetotaler. She was drinking. She was using all kinds of crazy drugs. She even had a drug dealer. Remember, Barry said she had a drug dealer. You're in Colorado, Barry. You don't need a drug dealer to buy marijuana, Barry. That's dumb. You can go up to the little jug and spoon or whatever that little gas station's called, and you can buy some of Willie's finest, Willie's Select. No, you don't need it. It's just dumb, Barry, that you said that she had a dealer. Timmy, was that his name? I don't even remember now. But she said that as soon as she heard that, she saw the way that he was telling the police that she was, had this real drug problem and everything. She knew the truth then. And she's crying. I mean, it's a long time ago, and I've told the story a million times. But as she's telling me this, she's weeping. She's sad. She's got a lot of tears. And so there's a lot of people that want to be, oh, you're a horrible person to say bad things about Barry. And, I can't say bad things about Barry because I don't know Barry. The little teeny tiny little bit that I know of him is I know this. I know he's got a weird energy that makes you feel repulsed. Like when you're face to face with him, you just sort of feel like, gross, like ick. And he's a handsome guy. So I guess that's why the energy feels so weird. It's because you look at him and he looks like he's normal. He looks like he's handsome. And yet you just sort of feel this, he's just got a crate. Just talk to Vanessa on Unmasked. She knows it's a weird energy the guy has. It's not right. There's something, he's very off-putting, right? I don't know if it's being stern. He wasn't stern. I said that when I walked into the courtroom, it was a shock to me because he's standing there, no cops around him. It's crazy. He's standing there at the defense table, but he's turned around and he's standing up and he's looking at the door as people are walking into the courtroom. And he's smiling and nodding at them like he's the damn deacon of the church welcoming you into the sanctuary on Sunday morning. It was really odd. And the thing that was in my mind when I saw it, I thought, well, this is weird and unexpected. And then after I sat down, I thought, why aren't the sheriff's deputies making him sit down? Like, why is he given this freedom to sort of be the greeter to his party? It was weird. It was really weird, y'all. I promise it was really weird. BZ Mama was there. She saw it too. Vanessa on Unmasked saw it. It's a weird guy. Last night, Lauren from the news commented to me about Jeff because her interview was different. So I directed her to your channel and the video, just FYI. Thank you, Moonchild. Well, yeah, I saw Lauren's interview with Jeff Puckett too. Okay, so let's see, how do I want to say this? So Jeff Puckett ended up getting in trouble for that interview because that was on DSI grounds, and DSI is besties with Barry. Like DSI is definitely pro Barry, right? So we didn't know it, or I didn't know at the time, that Jeff Puckett's, where he lived, was actually right next door to the DSI property, but apparently it was. And so he did the interview. I don't think he was at work, but he was at the DSI grounds. And so they did the interview with Lauren Sharp. It was a great interview. She got a lot of information from him that was very important. And then later on, he got fired from, because he kind of gives that impression that he got fired because of that interview. I don't know. I never spoke to Jeff Puckett, but in AK's interview, he sort of gives this, makes you feel like he must have gotten fired because of the interview. They certainly did not like him doing the interview, but nonetheless, then, AK followed up. Now, what was really great about the Lauren Sharp interview is that the news had sort of, in the way that they do, they had taken the words that Jeff said about the mail, and one piece of mail in a trash can gets reported in the Daily Mail and Crime Online and all these big publications. It gets reported as, oh, there was mail strewn about the room. The room was just filled with discarded mail. And so Jeff Puckett is trying to set the record straight with Lauren. He's trying to say, no, it was one piece of mail in the trash can. That's it. And then when he saw it, he said it occurred to him, this looks like a setup. This doesn't look good for me. So I really do think that I think Jeff Puckett's telling the truth, that he was telling the truth during the interview. I don't think he had anything to do with it. I don't think Morgan Gentile had anything to do with it. I think they were set up. I believe that in my heart, that they were set up. He is Heavenly Cloud. I think there's a video of AK talking with Barry. There is, Karma. Yeah, there is. I tease AK all the time about that Barry prayed on AK, but he did pray. He did pray on AK. He laid hands on AK's shoulder and said a prayer over him. That is absolutely true. So I think so too, Heavenly Clouds. Yeah. So Kate says Tyson comes with a heavy heart and sober reality. So has he made a statement? I believe that, Marilyn. I believe that. Yes. But here's the problem. You find yourself in the middle of an investigation, right? Just use your imagination for a second. You find yourself in the middle of an investigation, and you have this shocking reality of, oh my God, they think I did this, right? So now you're thinking, oh my God, they think I did this. Well, at the point that you start thinking that they think you did it, are you going to make up lies? Or are you going to be even more committed to facts and truth to prove your innocence, correct? Right? So I keep coming back to that basic human drive for survival. And that if somebody suspects you of a murder, you're not going to tell a bunch of lies. You're going to ask for an attorney, and then you're going to answer the questions that the police pose to you with as close to absolute pure fact as you possibly can. Correct? Not Barry. Barry's got a whole different idea about how to handle it when the whole world thinks that you are guilty of murder. He tells elaborate lies. He tells little silly, foolish lies that are inconsequential. He just runs this gamut of, you don't know, you never know when you go through and you listen to the things he said, the things he talked about, what he reported. You don't ever know if he's telling you the truth or not, because he's been caught in so many really important lies. Like, there's some important lies that matter. So Tyson did a live last night. I'm gonna have to go over there and look at it. He doesn't know what to think yet. This has all been so crazy. Look at his community page. He has a picture of the FBI digging a body by the tree. Well, if it's by the tree, then it was a mile marker 103. My ex was intimidating with a smile on his face. Yeah, those are the scary ones, Kathy. Those are the scary ones. Nana, how are you doing? Confused about the brown towel that I think was missing. The photo she sent Jeff in the bathing suit was from that day or an old photo. AKA Martin mentioned it last night. Yeah, so it's a blue towel. And the resort that they had just vacationed at in Cancun had blue towels the exact same color. Now, do they have any way of like guaranteeing that? Well, no, I don't know how they would, but there's reason to believe that that photograph was actually taken in Cancun and not there. And we don't know too. It's possible that the what do you call the information when you take a photograph and it stores all the location information? Exo the exo file, is that what it's called? So if they have that phone, which, I mean, if they have Barry's phone, they could see if the photograph was taken on Barry's phone. She's leaning on her elbows on that picture you're talking about. Somebody else took the picture. Exactly, Bruce. That's absolutely. And if it was, in fact, when they were in Cancun and Barry took that photograph, and then Barry's playing this ruse where he's talking to Jeff Libler, pretending to be Suzanne, then maybe he sent that photograph because he already had it on his phone, right? But the cops have access to that if they want it. Metadata. Thank you, Kate. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you. It's too cold in Salida to sunbathe in May. There are timers on cell phones, so she could prop a phone and get a snap. Maryland is in New Orleans. All right. So just the point of the chat, the live, was this question about that Suzanne talked to Melinda on May the 9th, where she is acknowledging to her sister that Barry is abusive and that the relationship is unsustainable, and she's really thinking about getting out of the bad relationship. And the texts to Melinda were very disturbing, and she was really kind of surprised. So that tells me that Suzanne had reached a new level of separation, emotional separation from Barry, detachment, that she was now ready to begin to tell the family that she and Barry were quits, right? Before that, it's common for people to hide that information. So Melinda was disturbed by the text she got. It surprised her, and she ended up deleting it. because it made her feel bad. Thankfully, the cops were able to retrieve it off of her phone, and then of course they also had it other ways. So it did not, that conversation, that texting did not happen on May the 9th. That started the morning of May the 8th. And I think most of the people that are really into this case, they really know the information, the data. AK Rocks and Martin have created a great, easily usable database. Most people look at that conversation with the sister as the possible real proof of life. That the whole talking to Jeff Libler, the photograph of her sunbathing, there was something wrong about that. And don't forget, Jeff Libler erased everything. He deleted everything. I don't know why he's not been charged. I think he ought to be charged with interfering with an investigation. But he did. And that's scary too. I don't know what to make of that. I'm still trying to work that part of it out in my head. But Jeff Libler, I am not a fan of old Jeff. Suzanne was betrayed by both men in her life. Both of them. Libler, you were a weak ass. That's what I want to know. Is he in Indiana, or was he already beat feet? Well, we do know that they were back in he and his mom were back in Indiana, but one of the girls was still in Colorado. So the man loves Colorado because he likes the backcountry. He likes the hunting, although I don't know if he's supposed to have guns. Yeah, I guess he can have guns now, can he? So it's hard to know. You don't know. There's no way to know where he is. But I do think the mom is, I do think that Barry's mother is back in Indiana. And remember, Barry has a sister that lives in Colorado. The sister and her husband live there in Colorado. No, Levici. No. He deleted everything, Heavenly Clouds. Shades of Nicole Kessinger, right? It's like, what? You supposedly love this woman. You're terrified of Barry Morphew. You are afraid of that man. And now you find out on Facebook that Suzanne is missing. And your reaction is not to pick up the phone and call the police to see if you can help, but to erase every speck of evidence that you were talking to her, or much less having an affair with her for the past 2 years. And then you sat like a quivering little squirrel in your little hidey hole, didn't you, Jeff? Instead of being a man. I have always had some sneaking suspicion that Barry knew and controlled every aspect of Suzanne's life, down to and including her relationship with Jeff. Do you think he is being watched? I do, Rudy Riley. Yeah, Rudy Riley. That is a cute name. I love that. Or is that Rowdy Riley? Maybe that's Rowdy Riley. Yeah, I do think. I think they're watching him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thing one, he was using her. Yeah, he was using her, and she was hurting. Nope, he was not, Kate. He was not. He was a coward. It's a cowardly man. Come on. And let's be honest. This guy had how many kids? He had some kids that were really in public, that the public would be interested in their activity. I'm not going to go into what that is or anything, but he had at least one kid that ran the possibility of being on a somewhat public stage at some point. His wife is working in a pretty high profile job. What kind of moron looks at this beautiful family, 6 kids, beautiful wife, and says, I think I'll be a slimy little nobody and go, have my little stupid flirtation with a woman who's really in an abusive situation, is really in trouble. I think I'll just double her troubles and just hide, slime away from my 6 kids and wife, and just to get my little sex thrills. What kind of guy does that? I mean, from the very get-go, he showed what his real integrity was like. So the fact that he destroyed all the evidence, that of course he did. I mean, that's who he is. No backbone. Jeff was willing to lie to his wife and date a married woman. How far of a stretch? He's in cahoots with Barry. Nah, I don't think that would be way too. That's too like a soap opera kind of. No, I don't think real people. I don't think real people would do that. It's way too complicated. The manipulation that would be required would be way too much. He could have helped her, Heavenly. Yes, he could have. And Corey Richens is another one. That's right, Bruce. Corey Richens is another one who had a beautiful life, right? Gorgeous life, great husband, great kids. And so she says, you know what? I think I'll blow it all to hell. Yeah, another perfect example. Yeah, absolutely. Snake in the grass, Pam Frenchman. Okay. All right. So there we go. We've talked about the fact that the last contact with Suzanne's sister was actually the morning of May the 8th, or it started the morning of May the 8th. It went into the early afternoon, May the 8th. So I think most of us believe that she was not alive on May the 9th. I don't think she was alive. And Jeff now has to live with himself knowing that he could have helped. Agreed. Yes. Jeff was having a fling and going along with whatever Suzanne said because he wasn't done yet. I think Jeff was he just responded to an opportunity, right? She reached out to him, and he responded, and maybe he was bored with his life, or maybe he wasn't getting the kind of attention that he thought he deserved, and it was easy to use Suzanne. But regardless of what his motive, I don't believe, I will say this, I don't believe not for a second that Jeff Libler was planning on leaving his family. I don't think he would have left those 6 kids. Not a bit. I don't believe that. To run off to Belize, even though it'd be grand and wonderful to be on the beach all day, that's a country that lacks a certain level of critical infrastructure, and you don't have the access to modern comforts or simplicity that we are accustomed to in this country. You go to countries like Egypt or Central America or whatever. There's a lot of things we take for granted here that when you get there, you try to live in the community. I don't mean in a fancy resort, but actually renting an apartment there. You learn really fast that it is a different way of life than it is here. So I don't believe this man would have left his life of luxury, his 6 accomplished children. I don't think he would have done that. I think he was just using her. He was playing along, having this little fantasy life, and he was challenged to do the right thing when she went missing, and he failed that challenge, and I'm sure he has a lot of regret from that. Yeah, that's right, Kathy. I don't have any idea, Diane. I have no idea. Hey, Gregory, welcome. It's good to see you. Glad you're here. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. People just didn't look into him. They didn't, he will, he was on the witness list. He was to testify during the trial. So if Barry is arrested again, I'm sure he'll testify. We'll know more about him at that time, right? A midlife Sam Malone moment that lasted 2 years. Right, stuff banana. Hey, Miss Catherine. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible case, But the domestic violence cases are always terrible because it's family. It's family. It goes on a long time, lots of damage, lots of hurt feelings, and it's terrible. I have no idea, Kate, but I will tell you this: 6 children from like 5 years old up to like I think the oldest one was 17 or 18. That's a lot. Those are a lot of kids to destroy their lives just to break up. They probably didn't break up. Maybe they're in different bedrooms, but they probably didn't break up. Yeah, it's an extended midlife crisis. And to be fair, the human side of it is, Suzanne was unhappy and she just wanted to feel good. She just felt bad, right? She was lonely. She was with a guy that when he was around, he wasn't very kind to her. And, she's a human being. She wanted someone to talk to, somebody to laugh with, be a human being. I suspect that emotionally, Suzanne might have been naive, as a lot of women would be in that situation when someone's deemed to be genuine. I would agree with you on that, Gregory. And I think it's important to realize, too, that Suzanne didn't date anybody else but Barry. Remember that. When they got together, Suzanne was young. She was 10th grade or something. And then he went off and there was a party where she was with Jeff Libler one night, according to Libler. But really, she was always, it was always Barry. There was not another guy. There was not a period of dating for her. So yeah, I mean, it's not unusual that she would reach out to an old friend if she thought that she was getting forced. Right, Jen. And that could have given her, it could have given her the courage to cut this off, right? That's true. Yeah. They did, Levissi. Yeah. They met in 5 different cities. They were in Denver. I don't remember all of them now. Denver, New Orleans, somewhere in Florida, Indiana. Was it Texas? Was the other one Texas? I don't remember. I'll have to look that up and see. Yeah, her best friend, Sheila, she had been best friends with Sheila since they were kids. Suzanne had a lot of really good friends. She was a well-loved person. Yep. And the truth is, Heavenly Cloud, they still want to disregard it. They still want to disregard it. That was one of the things that really attracted me to this story with Suzanne Morphew, is how Chaffee County, they just wouldn't accept the domestic violence aspect, or at least the potential that this was a domestic violence situation. And the daughter all but told them it was. So, all right. So, last known proof of life, thinking it was the 8th, May the 8th, not May the 9th. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good day. I guess we can play the chipmunk one more time. Do y'all like the chipmunk intro? I love the chipmunk intro. Share. Chipmunk Hope. It's Chipmunk Hope. All right. Y'all have a beautiful Saturday.
Where is the moment we need it the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. They tell me your blue skies fade to gray. They tell me your passion's gone